this one auntie who tells you to do the same thing over and over and over. What's her name? NAGMA. But in internal medicine, NAGMA is an acronym for something else. Normal anion gap metabolic acidosis. A very good morning, everybody. It's Ryan here. Welcome to our 42nd Mnemonic in Internal Medicine, and this is our second one looking at acid-base pathophysiology in nephrology. God bless you. I bring warm greetings in Jesus' most powerful name, and I hope you are well. All right. So before we start proceedings, just two quick scriptures to encourage you. The book of Proverbs chapter 22 verse 4 says, humility and the fear of the Lord bring wealth, honor, and life. And in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 13, Solomon at the end of his life says, and after experiencing the pleasure the world has to offer, says, fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. And I pray that will be our heart's desire. Okay, you ready? Let's talk about NAGMA. So we said yesterday that in defining acid-base disturbances, we have to go back to our beloved Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. So in defining acidosis, we know that the arterial pH or even venous pH is below 7.35. Right, in acidosis, primarily the problem is acquisition of hydrogen ions, which is analogous to losing bicarb, okay? So if you have a decrease in your bicarb, you can have a decreased pH, and that's the definition of metabolic acidosis. So the body thinks, hey, I don't want all this diminished pH, so it tries to increase the pH by diminishing your CO2, because we know that pH and CO2 are inversely proportional. So the compensation for metabolic acidosis is hyperventilation, which is why you see patients who are acidotic normally have labored respiration, what we call Kussmaul's breathing, deep sighing respiration, and an increased respiratory rate to blow off that CO2 as a compensation for the diminished bicarb, all right? So in classifying the etiologies of metabolic acidosis, we have to calculate the anion gap. So the anion gap is essentially the difference between your cations and your anions. Okay, so it's basically your sodium plus potassium, less your chloride and your bicarb. And the normal anion gap is between 8 and 12. If it's above 12, it'll be a wide anion gap. If it's within 8 to 12, it's called a normal anion gap metabolic acidosis, also termed hyperchloremic metabolic acidosis. All right. This helps us define our causes. So the mnemonic is hard pops, or even you can use fuse cars as well, but we'll go through both. So H stands for hyperalimentation. So what do we mean by hyperalimentation? It simply means that resulting from increased amino acid load, especially in patients who are having total parenteral nutrition, okay? Amphotericin B can also cause it as well as acetazolamide. And these both act at the level of the proximal tubule, all right? And they cause essentially bicarb wasting. Renal tubular acidosis, and there are type 1, type 2, and type 4, and we'll probably address this in a different video. Diarrhea also causes normal anion gap metabolic acidosis, as does pancreatitis and pancreatic fistula, obstructive uropathy, which induces a type 4 RTA. P stands for ureteroenteric drain or ileal conduit, and S is for saline. Because with saline, you're administering chloride, and that's going to cause hyperchloremic metabolic acidosis. So watch out for that. Another way of remembering the causes of a normal anion gap metabolic acidosis is our beloved fuse car. So F stands for fistulae, U stands for ureteric gastric conduits, S for saline, E is for endocrine issues like hypoparathyroidism, D is for diarrhea, C is for carbonic anhydrase inhibitors like acetazolamide, A stands for amphotericin B, R stands for renal tubular acidosis, and S stands for supplements. But by and large, guys, the most common causes that we probably see clinically is diarrhea causing it, too much of saline, which is an important iatrogenic cause of normal anion gap metabolic acidosis. And some of our patients with cryptococcal meningitis and fungal pneumonias, we give them amphotericin B, important to watch out for that. And renal tubular acidosis, especially type 4, the hyporeninemic hypoaldosteronism that we see in patients who have diabetes. All right, so there you have it, guys. God bless you. Have yourselves a fantastic day. I'll see you tomorrow with another mnemonic in internal medicine. God bless you.